Let us turn now to France. There are tensions that are escalating between France and also some Muslim majority countries. It's over President Emmanuel Macron's pledge to tackle radical Islam in the wake of a killing of a French teacher. Turkey has been the most vocal so far. Here's what President Recep Tayyip Erdogan had to say today.
Şimdi ben burada
I am now telling my nation, just as they are saying in France, not to buy anything from Turkish brands. I call on my nation here and now, do not pay attention to French-labelled goods. Do not buy them.
Well, the row started after the French president pledged to defend secularism following the beheading of teacher Mr Paty, that you see here. He had shown cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad to his class. 2 weeks before the attack, Mr Macron had called Islam a religion in crisis, and he promised to tackle what he called Islamist separatism. Over the weekend, Turkey's president hit back and stepped up his rhetoric, telling President Macron that he needed mental health checks for speaking out so forcefully on Islam. France responded by recalling its ambassador to Turkey, and the president tweeted. He said, "We will not give in, ever. We respect all differences in a spirit of peace. We do not accept hate speech and defend reasonable debate. We will always be on the side of human dignity and universal values." Well, for more background on this, here's Ece Gökçedef from BBC's Turkish service.
The problems between both countries have been surfaced since late last year, actually, because the two countries are supporting opposing sides in Libya, Syria, Eastern Mediterranean, and now lastly in Nagorno-Karabakh. But especially after Macron's words about Islam, after he described Islam as a religion in crisis, Erdogan changed his tone, actually. Erdogan started to use this rhetoric of Islamophobia in France. It's in his words. And he changed his rhetoric, and for the last couple of days, he never passed any speech without mentioning Macron and without mentioning this rhetoric.
But Turkey is not the only country to be raising objections. Let's take a look at a letter from the Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan to the Facebook chief executive Mark Zuckerberg. He was asking for a ban on Islamophobic content on the website. He raises the publication of the cartoons and says, "This will lead to further polarisation and marginalisation of Muslims in France. We've seen how marginalisation inevitably leads to extremism, something the world does not need." Now, across parts of the Arab world, the boycott of French goods, it's already underway. Let's take a look. This is French cosmetic products. You see them there being covered at a shop in Jordan. That sign says, "In solidarity with Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, all French products are boycotted." And here instead, French products being removed from the shelves at a supermarket in Qatar. France's Muslim Council, they say that Muslims are not persecuted in France and that they can freely practice their religion. Earlier, the French government confirmed it is not planning a reciprocal boycott against Turkey. Let's hear Hugh Schofield in Paris with more on the boycott and also the comments from President Erdogan.
Together they do, there's no question about it, add up in French minds to a fully blown diplomatic crisis, which is why the ambassador has been recalled from Ankara for consultations and why the whole of the French diplomatic corps is being told to sort of go on the offensive to make the French case. And that means repeating over and over again the French view of all this, which is that no, Muslims in France are not treated like Jews in Europe in the 1930s. That there has been an awful lot of false propaganda and reporting around all of this. For example, the footballer Paul Pogba is not about to leave the French football team because of his Muslim sensibilities. And no, the cartoons have not been projected from the buildings of town halls in the south of France. What that was the projection of cartoons by Charlie Hebdo, but not the cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad. Again, misreporting, creating a sense of anti-French hostility. And in general, I think the point is going to be made that when President Macron supports the cartoons, he's not saying I support the Muhammad cartoons, I'm supporting the right of publication of those cartoons. And that's two distinct things in French views, and that distinction, they believe, is not fully understood in the Arab world.